Welcome back. Today we're talking about something that quietly shapes global trade more than most people realize: how freight forwarders and logistics professionals are trained. FIATA is marking 100 years as a global voice for freight forwarding, and at the recent FIATA headquarters sessions, the big theme wasn't only celebration. It was education, access, and how learning adapts when the world doesn't cooperate.
And the world is definitely not cooperating right now. Even when a conference agenda is about standards and diplomas, you can feel the background noise of geopolitics. Trade lanes, disruptions, uncertainty. It's like you're discussing training in a room where everyone's phone has breaking news lighting up every 5 minutes.
Exactly. And one moment that landed with a lot of people came from Inessa Platonova, who chairs the management committee of the FIATA Foundation. She spoke about Ukraine's training efforts, and it wasn't dramatic or showy. It was calm, measured, and honestly, more powerful because of that.
What did she focus on?
Opportunity. She essentially framed training as a way for students, especially those forced to look for work outside their country, to compete for good roles instead of being pushed into whatever job happens to be available. That idea of education as dignity, not just an academic program, really came through.
That's the kind of point people nod at, and then later it hits them harder. Because it's not abstract, right? It's someone saying, this course can change what kind of work you're able to do, and how you're treated when you cross a border.
Right. And she also raised something that sounds technical but is actually a big deal: flexibility. She argued students need flexibility, yes, but also a clear structure. Those two things sound like opposites, but they're not. The idea is structured learning that can adapt to individual needs, so specialization helps people rather than boxing them in.
And while all that was happening, FIATA's headquarters sessions were echoing online. LinkedIn was packed with posts and summaries for days. You could tell the members and the secretariat were pushing to keep the initiatives visible.
Totally. And the other layer you mentioned, the geopolitical backdrop, was just there. Not always stated outright, but present. Even as we're recording now, you look at choke points like the Strait of Hormuz and it feels like a traffic signal for global trade: open, closed, open again, and everyone's wondering what happens next.
Flying Talkers fans, let's take a break for some words from today's sponsor PayCargo. If you've ever worked around freight, you already know the pain point. Cargo can be ready to move, the plane can be ready to go, but one small thing slows everything down: payments and releases. And that's really where PayCargo comes in. They've been driving global trade since 2007, helping money and resources move on time so shipments don't get stuck in process. Because when payments lag, it's not just a finance issue. It turns into a logistics issue, a customer issue, a capacity issue. Suddenly the whole supply chain is waiting on a manual step. So PayCargo built a digital alternative designed to take friction out of one of the biggest bottlenecks in logistics. The original mission was simple: keep freight moving. And it didn't stop at pay faster, right? As more cargo started moving without delays, companies needed more than speed. They needed clarity, predictability, and workflows that didn't depend on someone chasing paperwork. PayCargo evolved from being a faster payment tool into a broader platform that brings together the financial and operational workflows that help logistics run. So what does that actually include? Think payments, of course, but also AP automation, financing options, and container portals that help streamline the release process. And the big theme here is removing friction. Make it easier to pay, easier to confirm, easier to release cargo, and easier to keep the supply chain flowing. Which is why so many partners have adopted it. Today, it's more than 150,000 partners using PayCargo to get real-time information, cut down manual work, and move goods with more speed, visibility, and control. And that's the point. PayCargo is working to revolutionize how global logistics moves by bringing speed, simplicity, and connection across the supply chain. In other words, it's not just about sending a payment. It's about building a connected logistics ecosystem where goods, information, and payments can move seamlessly together. So if you're looking to accelerate release, improve workflow automation, and keep shipments moving without the usual delays, PayCargo is worth a look. You can contact PayCargo at paycargo.com and tell them Flying Talkers broadcast sent you. You'll be glad you did. Now back to our program.
Okay, so let's get into the core FIATA business, training. There was a panel on digital learning, right?
Yes. A key session focused on building effective digital learning. It was moderated by Alperin Guler, chair of the FIATA Logistics Institute, and it brought together speakers from different countries who are at different chapters in their digital learning journey. Adam Butler from Australia, Inessa Platonova from Ukraine, and Mariana Vale from Portugal.
I like that framing, different chapters, because some associations are fully online, others are hybrid, and some are still figuring out what platform even makes sense.
That was basically the point. The session included progress on an e-learning handbook. And it's important how they positioned it. It's meant to support associations, not dictate to them. So it's guidance, not a rigid rulebook, and it's designed to help digital delivery stay aligned with FIATA minimum standards.
So it's not, everybody must do it this way. It's more like, here are guardrails so the quality doesn't collapse when you go digital.
Exactly. And the panel got practical. They talked about engagement, quality assurance, and whether an institution is actually ready to deliver online learning without it turning into a box-ticking exercise.
Because that's the risk. People hear online learning and imagine convenience, but they forget the hard part. Keeping students involved, assessing fairly, updating content, training the trainers.
Yes, and one of the key takeaways was that there isn't one winning model that fits everyone. But there is a shared need for credible, well-organized learning environments, whether the class is in a room or on a platform.
That takes us right into the classic debate, digital versus classroom. Did they come down on one side?
Not as a single verdict. There was debate, and it reflected real differences by country and by context. But the big clarification from the chair was, the minimum standards are about what you teach, not how you deliver it. If the required concepts are in the course, you can teach them in person or online. The standards don't worship a delivery method.
That's a helpful line in the sand, because otherwise people confuse quality with format. A bad class can be in a classroom. A great course can be online, and vice versa.
Exactly. And there was also a theme I loved, the idea that technology follows knowledge, not the other way around. In other words, don't let a shiny platform dictate what learning becomes. The content and competence come first.
And FIATA always has those evergreen discussions, too. Like the terminology debate. Do we emphasize freight forwarder or logistics in how the standards are framed?
Yes, that conversation never really dies. But the reassuring part is that the spirit of the FIATA Diploma was repeatedly reaffirmed. Words evolve, industries blend, but the aim stays stable, training professionals who can work to a comparable level across markets.
What else came up during the training discussions?
There was a FIATA Logistics Institute survey discussion where the Netherlands raised a question a lot of listeners will relate to. Should IT be explicitly integrated into the standards, given how central technology has become in forwarding and logistics?
That's fair. You can't work in this industry without systems, visibility tools, compliance platforms, booking portals, data exchange. IT isn't a nice to have.
Right, and the response was basically, standards evolve. They've done it before. A recent example is sustainability, which was integrated into the standards for 2024 and is coming into force now. So there's a precedent for updating what core competence means.
And what did people say about learning formats?
Adam Butler from Australia highlighted that digital delivery can improve flexibility. But he also pushed back against the idea that everything should become fully self-paced. He argued there's value in synchronous learning, where people show up together, because it creates community and a social learning dynamic.
I'm with him. If you remove every live element, you often lose momentum. Students become isolated, and completion rates drop.
And then you had a contrasting view from Iran. A delegate said the quality of online courses, in his view, has been slipping, and it doesn't always match classroom learning. But even he acknowledged you have to evaluate it case by case, country by country.
That's honest. Infrastructure, internet reliability, teaching culture, assessment methods, all of it changes the outcome.
Exactly. And FIATA clarified something important. a digital version is not mandatory. It's up to each association to decide what works for their program.
But there's still a reason online keeps coming up, right? The audience has changed.
Yes. Sophia Aiche, who manages this area, pointed out a simple reality. For employed learners, online options can be much more realistic. If you're working during the day, you can't always sit in a classroom at fixed hours.
So the policy mood was what overall?
The prevailing view among attendees, the largest share, was that FIATA should mainly provide guidance on digital learning rather than strict rules. So, support the members, help them align with standards, share what works, but don't force a single approach.
That feels aligned with the whole theme: different speeds, common direction.
Now, one of the less glamorous but most essential parts of FIATA's training ecosystem is validation and revalidation. And yes, it comes around reliably every spring at headquarters.
This is where people's eyes glaze over, but it's kind of the backbone, right?
Exactly. Here's the simple version. FIATA defines the training standards. Then local and regional associations design and deliver the courses on the ground. Validation and revalidation are the mechanisms that check whether those courses actually match the standards and remain relevant over time. It's quality control, but also continuity.
And that's what gives the FIATA Diploma its weight. Because it's not just a certificate someone printed. It represents a comparable level of training across countries.
Yes. In many places, that diploma opens real employment doors. And what's striking is that this program has been running for decades and still functions with almost clockwork reliability. Generations of professionals have been trained through this structure.
Okay, let's switch from professional training to the youth pipeline. There was also a sustainability-focused student initiative, right?
Yes, the Global Sustainability Student Competition, often called GS3. It built a lot of anticipation because the awards were presented during the closing ceremony. And for anyone who missed it, University College London took the gold.
GS3 is linked to FIATA, but it's run with a broader education platform, isn't it?
Right. It's organized by the Global Supply Chain Classroom Platform in cooperation with FIATA, and it's been growing in attention. What makes it interesting is that it's not just students compete, students win. It's positioned as education through real-world problem solving.
And they had insights from Professor Chung Tam, who leads that global supply chain classroom effort.
Yes, and he was very clear about FIATA's role. FIATA brings credibility, visibility, and access. FIATA leaders, staff, and members contribute expertise, including serving as judges. FIATA also turns the awards into a bigger learning experience by hosting the ceremony during the HQ meeting and organizing educational visits in Geneva, like stops at UN bodies, trade organizations, and cargo facilities.
That's a big deal for students. You can learn theory anywhere, but meeting industry leaders and seeing those institutions up close can change how you imagine your future.
Exactly, and he described it as life-changing for that reason. He also credited the UN Global Compact's Principles for Responsible Management Education, or UNPRME, for helping expand outreach through its global network of universities and business schools. And the World Bank contributed too, including judges and case studies, bringing real global challenges into the competition.
And sponsorship matters. Without it, a lot of these student opportunities can't scale.
Yes. He mentioned TWTH Express as a key sponsor, helping winning teams travel to Geneva for the awards and contributing cases as well, plus supporting a broader educational component connected to GS3.
I want to get into the philosophical part he raised. GS3 is forward-looking, sustainable logistics, carbon reduction, student-driven solutions. But the world changes fast. Does something like this stay relevant, or does it risk becoming a feel-good exercise?
He had a strong answer. GS3 was designed primarily as an educational initiative, not as a trophy hunt. He referenced the idea that the journey is the goal. The point is what students learn while participating: sustainable supply chain design, cross-cultural collaboration, systems thinking, and how to balance environmental, social, and business realities in decisions.
That's the real skill set employers say they want, but struggle to find. Someone who can handle trade-offs, not just repeat slogans.
Exactly. And he argued it builds leadership and ethical awareness, plus the confidence to engage with complexity rather than run from it. That's why he believes it stays relevant, even when the world feels like it's moving at the speed of light.
What about accessibility? A lot of competitions accidentally become exclusive.
That was another major design element. The competition is held online, which removes travel barriers for most participants. They use a standardized, short-written format to reduce language disadvantage, since English may be the business default but it's not the first language for much of the world. They also offer multiple real-world challenges to choose from, flexible scheduling across time zones, and international judging panels.
So it's global in a practical way, not just in branding.
Exactly. And he said a lot of GS3's growth has been organic through student and educator referrals, with recognition by organizations like the UN and the World Bank reinforcing its credibility.
Bringing it back to FIATA at 100, the thread connecting all of this is service, right? Not only defending members' interests, but building skills and raising the overall level of professionalism.
That was the closing feeling. FIATA's training work has been going on for decades, and the FIATA Foundation's role has been especially meaningful in helping develop courses in places that are less equipped, essentially reducing disparities and building bridges. When you connect that to what Inessa shared about Ukraine, you see how training can be a stabilizing force when everything else is unstable.
And that's a hopeful note in an industry that often talks only about disruptions. Training is the long game.
That's our episode. Thanks for spending this time with us. Until next time, keep your standards high and your shipments moving. And good night, Joe, wherever you are.